Boys, there's been a lot of people going through the best, or the top fighter of the year, the best fighter 2024. That's nice and all, but I think we go through the top 5 fighters of 2024, and it was hard to pick only 5 guys because there is a lot of amazing fighters that should be on this list. I have 2 honorable mentions before we even get started. I got first honorable mention. Now, before we get into the actual list, I'm going to put into, activity is going to have a very big implication, whether how high you are on this list. And then also just the level of your opponents you're fighting. That's also going to be very important. With that being said, on one of my honorable mentions, I have the boy Money Moicano. Moicano had to be on this list, honorable mention or not. And, he had a great 2024. And to be honest, 2024 looking like the best year of Moicano's career so far. So it started off 4 wins this year. Very, very rare. A lot of these guys I have on this list have very similar, 4-fight win streak, where Moicano, it's a 50-50 between decisions and finishes, but the level of opponent, nasty work. Drew Dober, he started this in February, got that decision over Drew Dober. Not too mad about that. Good win. Then we go into, UFC 300. Coming back from UFC 300, that crazy upset and comeback for Moicano, getting dropped by Jalen Turner, then coming back, doing some nasty ground and pound work in round number 2, getting that win. Then, people don't necessarily count this as, a win. I'm going to count it here for a win because I have him versus Christian Guzman as a grappling UFC invitational. I have him here because he did win. It wasn't 4 fights in the UFC, but regardless, he still got a UFC Fight Pass invitational win. I have him here. And then the one that just put him in a lot of people's mind as one of the best fighters this year, Benoit Saint Denis, just destroyed that boy early in the fight. Got some nasty ground and pound work and just honestly messed up that boy. Let's go down to my other honorable mention. I have Merab Dvalishvili here. Now, Merab, he had some good wins this year, only 2 this year, but he had Henry Cejudo, and a lot of people have Henry very highly rated. Me personally, this dude hasn't won since he came back, so it's not that impressive. Then UFC 306 in the Sphere card, end up taking that belt from Sean O'Malley. And was it the most entertaining? No, but I have him here, honorable mention. Let's go into my 5th fighter this year. Now, like I said, activity is pretty important. Number 5 right now, I got the middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis. Mainly because this dude only fought twice this year. So I can't put him that high up. But with that being said, he did win the belt from Sean Strickland. A close split decision where a lot of people thought he lost, me included, to be honest. But regardless, he still won. And then the reason why I have him up here, his fight against Israel Adesanya, where I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see Izzy having much success at all in that fight. In the striking, DDP was holding his own, if not doing better. Got him to the ground, 4th round submission win. First one to choke out Izzy, first one to give Izzy his submission loss. And yeah, against someone like an Israel Adesanya, I had to put him here. Top 5 best fighters of the year. Let's go down to number 4 though. Number 4 might be a little bit surprising, but this dude has been active as hell. I'm talking about a welterweight fighter, Carlos the Nightmare Prates. You got to give this dude props. He's out here 5 minutes before his walk, smoking a dart. And his 2024 spree was super active. Every single one of his fights this year, performance of the night. That's 200 grand there, just in performance bonuses. But starting off his year, we had February 10th, Trevin Giles, 2nd round, put that dude to sleep. Then one of the nastiest knockouts we've seen too, wasn't a unconscious one, but it was him, June 8th, Charles Radke. Just a nasty 1st round knee to the body that just crumbled Radke. Then after this one was so sad. R.I.P. my boy the Leech, UFC 305. He put out the boy Ling Jingliang. And do I forgive him for that? Yeah. Did it take some time? Also yes, but it's sad to see my boy the Leech game put out the way he did. It is what it is. Then just recently, a few months ago, November 9th, 1st round KO over Neil Magny. This dude has some serious power for this division. If you guys didn't watch that Neil Magny one, he barely touched Neil Magny, it looked like, and he put him out. And maybe it's because he's smoking the packs of cigs before the walkout that's giving him this crazy power. But yeah, Carlos Prada is one of the more active fighters this year, and he made his debut this year. He's just one of the best fighters this year, and he needs the credit. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he's one of the best top 5 fighters this year. With that being said, we got 3 more guys to go through. Another super active one. I got a featherweight dude here that, again, some people aren't putting the respect on his name. I have Diego Lopez. Now, Lopez made his debut last year against Movsar Evloev. Very, very short notice. Ended up losing that decision. Regardless, a very close fight. After that, he had a 3-fight win streak this year on some of the biggest stages this year. Starting off the year at UFC 300, Sadiq Yusuff, first round, he got that KO with some nice ground and pound work afterwards. And, that was a okay fight. I honestly didn't expect Sadiq Yusuff, out of all guys, to be at UFC 300. I'm glad it was. Diego Lopez on the biggest stage this year, in my opinion, UFC 300. Glad he was on there. After that, he was scheduled to fight Brian Ortega, and literally the last 5 minutes got canceled and rebooked, where we had Dan Ige step up, UFC 303. We had to switch him up. We had to get Dan 5-second Ige in there because we had Diego Lopez against nobody, and that was a big fight. Ended up going to a decision where Diego Lopez did get it, but at the end of the day, people are giving Diego Lopez a lot of hate for that performance. But you have to remember, this dude, he was originally scheduled to fight Brian Ortega at 145 pounds. He made that weight. Brian Ortega came to him and said, I can't make that weight. Can we do a catch weight? Can we do 155? Can we do 150? Can we do something? They said, sure, we'll do that. So he had to gain some more weight. Shit got canceled. Then he's rehydrated, all that shit. He has to make weight again for Dan Ige a few hours later. So definitely not the best performance, but you have to take into consideration all the other shit that Diego Lopez had to go through. And with that being said, people give, including myself, Dan Ige, a stupid amount of respect for coming in on super, super short notice. We have to do the exact same thing for Diego Lopez. With that being said, let's go into the Sphere card. UFC 306, finally. Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez, ended up being a unanimous decision win, but Diego Lopez did whatever he wanted to Brian Ortega. I believe it was the first round where he dropped Brian Ortega bad. And it's crazy if you rewatch that knockdown, he literally knocks out. Like, Brian Ortega would have been flatlined if Diego Lopez didn't do some follow-up shots that woke up Brian Ortega. So the level of opponents he's doing it to, the biggest stages in the world, and pretty dominantly and entertaining as well. I have Diego Lopez here as the third. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if Carlos Prates got moved up to the third spot, but I have Diego Lopez here for the third. Now we got 1 and 2. 1 and 2 I think are going to be very, very controversial on who you guys have depending on fan bases and stuff, but I'll let you guys know my reasoning once we get there. Let's go down to my second guy. I wanted to put him first, but I just couldn't. We have Alex Pereira as my second best fighter of 2024. Do we need to run through this dude's 2024? I mean, I guess we can. 2024, we got UFC 300. And again, pretty much every single one of these fights, a pretty short notice. He wasn't, I don't think this was supposed to be the headliner. I think this is what they had to do. Ended up being Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. Who cares? We got that legendary moment at the first round knockout for Pereira, giving us lots of memes. After that, we got the terrible reincarnation of whatever Jamal Hill is doing right now. Moving down, we got the rematch, Yuri Prochazka. This was the replacement fight for Conor McGregor. Again, a short notice fight. Ended up getting the performance of the night in this fight, and Yuri had no success at all in this fight. Pereira did whatever he wanted to Yuri in this fight, and we had lots of legendary moments build-up-wise with the Shama Magic, the Black Magic, all of this stuff where Schizo Yuri was going a little bit crazy during the face-offs, during the backstages, saying that he's trying to do something to him, but he's not letting him. He wants to fight the pure fight, but legendary moments from this fight as well. Then we have the Khalil Rountree fight, October UFC 307, fight of the night, and this was one of the best fights we had this year. On my seat for the entire fight. I know a lot of people are on their seat for this fight. It took Alex 4 rounds to finally get it done. And to be honest, first round went by. I'm like, fuck, this is going to be the guy that beats Alex, isn't it? Because it wasn't looking good for Alex. I think it was second round he gets dropped too. I'm like, fuck. He's actually going to lose to Khalil Rountree. And then he started to bring it up in the third and got the finish in the fourth. So, I mean, I'm looking at this now and I'm like, I could have sworn Pereira fought 4 times this year, but no, it was only 3, but it was in some of the biggest stages as well as being extremely short notice. So because of that, if it was 4 times, maybe I'd be like, yeah, we can have him as number 1. But what did I say? The level of his opponents as well as activity. That has nothing on, the number 1 guy. Number 1 guy also fought, a few times this year, fought 1 more time less, but the opponents he fought were miles better resume-wise than the 3 guys Alex did. So that's why my number 1 guy, Ilia Topuria, and the best back-to-back wins, the best title fight and title defense I believe any fighter has ever achieved in the entire UFC, and maybe as MMA as a whole, but we have Ilia Topuria. It has to be Ilia Topuria. There is conversations of what about Pereira this, Pereira that. I understand it, but even just the Max Holloway win, I think being the first one to knock out Max Holloway is more of an achievement than knocking out Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka, and Khalil Rountree, in my opinion. But with that being said, we started the year off hot with the knockout of my boy Volkanovski. Second round, terrible seeing that dude get flatlined. With that first win, also got performance of the night. Then he fought Max Holloway. First guy to knock out Max Holloway. Also performance of the night. That's $100,000 there in performances. And yeah, there's an argument for Pereira, but I think Topuria just has a stronger reason why. Just saying Pereira fought 1 more time is not a better argument than saying, yeah, but Topuria knocked out Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway back-to-back. That being said, those are my top 5 fighters of 2024. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys have anyone else? And like I said, there's a lot of guys here that you could put here. I'm sure you could have someone like a Muhammad, but he only fought 1 time this year. A sneaky good guy you can have here that I wouldn't be mad having as an honorable mention, Joaquin Buckley. That's a 4-fight win streak for Joaquin Buckley, and I think only one of them went to the decision versus the Ruzemboyev guy. Other than that, TKO over Luque, TKO over Wonderboy, and then that doctor stoppage, which does get classified as a TKO over Colby Covington. So Joaquin Buckley is someone you can have here. But yeah, that's who I have. You could even have someone like I don't even know if you can put Tom Aspinall here. He only fought 1 time against Curtis. Even, I guess you could put Gene Silva here. He fought 3 times. Wilson, Charles Jourdain, Andrew Dober, all of them TKO. Wouldn't be mad about that. We get Peter Yan finally getting on a win streak this year against Song Yadong and Davidson Figueiredo. So there's some guys you can put here, but I think my top 5 has the strongest backing-wise. So let me know in the comments below, did I miss any of these guys? Who would you put here instead? Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.